Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope I find you well. What I wanted to talk to you about today is the benefits of meditation and how it's affected me. First, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what meditation is as far as I can tell. And as far as I can tell, what meditation is essentially just focusing your mind on a specific thing. It's consciously affecting your mind. So what that is for me is meditation is sitting and watching my breath. That's how I meditate. And that causes my mind to get clear and etc. etc. What it could be for you is you could focus on a mantra, or you could just walk, or you could do watching your breath walking, or even focusing on music. Music can be meditation for some people. So when I say meditation, don't just assume that it means, sitting on the cushion with the candles and the mantras, and that's not what it has to look like. Although it can look like that if you want to. But I want just how important it is, because it's probably the biggest thing I did. Everything else kind of started falling in place once I started meditating. And it's important to remember, meditating is like anything. The first time you do it, you're going to suck at it, probably. Maybe not. Maybe you'll be good. But the first time you do it, you're probably going to suck at it. I know when I started trying meditating, I would put 5 minutes on the timer and try to sit and watch my breath for that long. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't last. Literally, I would sit there and I would try to sit there for 5 minutes. I couldn't. I could only get through 3. Could not do 5. It was hilarious. It's just because we live in such a distracted society. We have constant incoming information all the time. So our mind is not used to meditating at all. But I stuck it out, and the most important thing is I decided I was going to do it every day. And I did it every day. I practiced every day. And within a few weeks, I was much better. I could sit through an hour with a fairly quiet mind. Of course, it took a long time. You keep seeing improvement. You keep seeing improvement. So just stick it out. That's the most important thing I can tell you. Stick it out. Some of the benefits are you're actually going to be able to self-examine properly. Before I was meditating, I don't know if this is like for everybody, but I was way too emotionally attached to my viewpoint of myself. So I couldn't self-examine because I was so worried I would see something that I viewed as negative and then have a negative opinion of myself, which of course I realize is ridiculous, but humans aren't logical all the time. That's just how it is. We're not logical. Also, I was able to, if you're listening to this, you're probably listened to a lot of videos and read a lot about different people telling you different things about how to live your life. And I noticed before I was meditating, I wasn't able to actually apply them. I would listen to them, and it would seem logical, oh, be grateful, you'll be happier, okay, yep, whatever. I would listen to it, my mind would go, yeah, that sounds good, and then it wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But after I'd been meditating for a while, I did actually start applying the lessons I've learned. And just figuring stuff out in general. Life just makes a lot more sense because you lose that emotional attachment. You don't, I'm not saying you're emotionally dead, but you're able to kind of step away from your emotions for a minute and view things a little more objectively. So this makes interacting with people a lot easier because you realize that, oh, they're just people, they're just you in a different body essentially. Also, your intuition gets a lot better. It's amazing. It's funny because I realized that the voice of my intuition was always there. I just never listened to it. But once I'd been meditating for a bit, I was able to actually identify which voice it was and listen to it. And it was amazing. Things started running a lot more smoothly. And just feeling better in general. And a lot of that comes from what you don't realize before you're meditating. I'm sure you've heard this before, but thoughts are cyclical. I noticed before I was meditating, I had the same 4 or 5 negative thoughts usually circling, and usually negative, not always, but same 4 or 5 thoughts circling in my head, all for hours or a day or whatever. Once I'd been meditating, I was able to identify them and deal with them. Before I was meditating, I could never do that. So, that's the benefits of meditating. Actually, there's another one. Your reflexes actually get better. Like your physical reflexes, I'm actually able, usually when I drop things now, I catch them instead of not catching them, which is what happened before. And you can kind of predict the future a little bit. I'm not gonna say like you're using like psychic powers or anything, but you could see what's coming a little better. Maybe it's just, your subconscious mind does calculations better or whatever. But all in all, a lot of benefits for meditating. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I think everybody should be doing it. Almost everybody. Just figure out what works for you and start doing it. As always, onward and upward.